What's going on, Packers fans? Aaron Nagler here with your post-game chat after the Cleveland Browns humble the Green Bay Packers. They're in Cleveland, a game that the Packers had control of for the majority of the contest, but then the old adage, everything that could go wrong did go wrong, especially the last 5 minutes or so. From obviously the entire game with the offense being unable to pull its head out of its ass is going to be the major headline throughout the course of this week. Now, there's some accident forgiveness there because of the fact that they lost Zach Tom the first play of the game. And then you turn around and lose your starting left guard at halftime. Sure, you expect the offensive line, especially against that team and that defensive front, is probably going to struggle at least a little bit. You would expect that. Sure didn't seem that Matt LaFleur and his offensive staff expected that as they continued to try and push the ball downfield a bit, and certainly didn't get to a quick game anytime soon prior to the late arrival of the offense and the drive for a touchdown. But man, that was a game that really needed to be buttoned up, especially after Zach Tom went down. And yet there they were, dropping back, trying to throw the ball down the field to little or no avail. That to me was the most head-scratching part of the entire afternoon. I understand that you expect guys to come in off the bench and be able to perform. They practice like starters. That is the old adage. But man, at some point you needed to adjust, and that never really seemed to occur until very late in the contest. But overall, it's obviously not just one thing. It is a bunch of stuff that the Packers did poorly throughout this afternoon that cost them the game. You're talking about allowing 5 sacks, talking about 14 penalties. Now, you can argue and quibble with some of the calls. Certainly, there were some phantom ones in there. But overall, the Packers did a lot of shooting themselves in the foot pre-snap. False starts, in particular, were a major issue. Now, again, I understand you've got some backups in there, but you are expected to know the snap count. You're expected to work in concert as an offensive line or as a wide receiver who's out in the perimeter. Know the snap count. It's your number one job at the line of scrimmage. Whole lot of stuff like that. The fact that they turned the ball over so late in the contest, again, with total control of the football game. Jordan Love, it seemed like he threw blind there on that left slant where the safety does a phenomenal job passing off Tucker Kraft and just reading Jordan, essentially, for the interception. Matt LaFleur, after the game, tried to put it on himself, saying that was a bad play call. And sure, there are plenty of other calls that you might have made in that instance where you would think give Jordan a more delineated read, something a little easier. But you would expect your starting quarterback, who's in third year as a starter, to understand what's happening there and not throw that ball. Felt, again, like he threw it kind of blind. But, yeah, turnover late in the game. The defense, I mean, I got nothing but love for the Packers defense. I understand they were put in a very bad situation there at the end of the game and allowed a touchdown. But on balance, that is a game they completely controlled on the defensive side of the ball. Zero reason to lose that game if you have a competent offense, which the Packers didn't today. And I'm going to get to your questions and comments. But before I do, I just want to say I've already seen it a bunch in the chat. I certainly saw a stream of it on Twitter towards the end of the game and after the game. No one should get fired after this. No one should be sent packing. I get it's frustrating. It is week 3. No one should be called to account. The road to a championship is paved with lots of twists and turns and difficulties. I could go through all the times the Packers had a horrible loss in the seasons where they went on to win a championship, but no one wants to hear from old man Nagler. I get it. But anyone looking to overreact to what is a week 3 loss against a team that has a fucking phenomenal defense, you've come to the wrong place. That's all I'm going to say from the get-go. That said, get to your questions and comments. Lots of super chats piling up, starting out with Crash. What's up, man? Worst quarter of football this season. This is a big wake-up call, thankfully, in week 3. Never happy with an L, but this could help shape us moving forward. You're not wrong, Crash. And this is something I used to talk about a lot with Greg Bedard when he was on the beat. To your point, we talked about that loss in Detroit, the year they did win the Super Bowl back in 2010. I had so many people on CHTV calling for Mike McCarthy to be fired, to burn it all down. And yes, Aaron Rodgers went down late in the first half in that game. They couldn't score. They didn't score a point, even with Aaron at quarterback. And everyone was like, it's over, pitchforks, etc. And I always remember Greg Bedard saying, you got to let it play out. It is week 3. I get it. It's frustrating. But yes, a humbling loss early in the season. I'll take it now rather than, especially in January, let alone, December. Now, the key is they got to learn from it. Everybody, not just the players, but the coaches too. But yeah, there's a long way to go. And it is one of the worst quarters of football you've probably seen. I do not doubt that. Carter, what's up? Shit the bed Hall of Fame. That is a good epitaph. In fact, I might just make that the name of this video after I'm done. Kaz, thanks for the super chat. Take a breath, Packers fans. The Pack will be back. Look at the positivity. I'm sure there's a lot more negativity coming, but I appreciate that approach. Porkmaster, what's going on, man? Is it too much to ask the defense to also play offense and special teams? You might be asking for too much there, Porkmaster. I'm glad you brought up special teams, though, because that is a disaster there at the end of the game, allowing that kick to be blocked. Although it was a little wild how there were like 3 blocked kicks in games almost within 5 minutes of each other. 2 of them returned for touchdowns in the Eagles and Jets-Bucks game. That was crazy. That said, absolutely can't allow the penetration to happen. Absolutely have to kick that higher. It's a low trajectory kick. I mean, that's should be a game winner. And the Packers absolutely opened the gates for a Browns victory instead. John Moore, what's up, man? Got served a big serving of humble pie and choked on it. Defense is great, but the offense will need to bounce back, and they will. I tend to agree, and it's interesting that they get to turn around and go down to Dallas to do it. I'm interested to see how they bounce back in that environment. Joe, what's up, man? Do they need to put Banks on IR and let him heal? Possibly. I mean, without the medical information, it's impossible to say. Whatever decisions they make, they're being driven by reams of info that we don't have. I get it's frustrating to lose him continuously, but man, if the medical staff deems him good to go, I can't argue with it. They know way more than we do. Steve, what's up, man? So much to bitch about. Can't believe we extended Bisaccia preseason. My quote, victory pizza is now a loss pizza, but hey, it's still pizza. Man, just enjoy your pizza. Yeah, the Bisaccia extension, I suspect will be a major talking point after this game, through the week, etc. And look, I get it. That unit directly contributed to the loss today. It's fair game. That said, teams that hire and fire coaches each and every offseason are usually perennial losers. The Packers are not that. That's my only thought on that subject. Ed, what's up, man? Damn, after their first field goal, Larry McCarron said they had better clean up their line play because it was almost blocked. Damn. That's the thing, too. People see that on tape. They try to take advantage. Absolutely will get after you if you put any weakness out there. Browns certainly did that. Jerry, what's up? This is the NFL. Burn the tape. Moving on. I don't think this is a burn the tape game. Trust me, sir, I have seen burn the tape games, and this is, to me, a great learning experience. This is not a game where I just flush it, ignore it, and move on. There's a lot to be learned from that offensive performance, and I think that is something the Packers will undoubtedly do throughout the next 48 hours. Mimsy, what's up, man? Matt LaFleur teams hate adversity and basic strategy. If they don't snap at the end of 3 games in OT, why tackle the receiver in the open field with no timeouts? Man, you're talking about guys like in the heat of the moment. Look, that I'm sure in some classroom in the offseason, they went over that possible idea, right? I don't fault a guy for seeing a guy running and trying to tackle him with the ball in his hand. I understand. I get it. It's easy for us to sit on the outside, look in, and give him all these pointers. Yeah, on the field, heat of the moment, on the sideline, it's another world. And that said, basic strategy. I don't know what else Matt LaFleur could have done there. Like, I understand, especially towards the end of the game, that very final offensive drive, where, by the way, 2 plays are at the 20. That's a pretty damn good output, right? And then everyone's going to bitch about the fact that they ran the ball and kicked a field goal. Did you see what happened for the majority of the game when they dropped back to pass? I got no problem with the approach there. Run it 3 times, kick the field goal, go home and winner. That was the idea, and that's a sound, fine strategy. Certainly didn't expect the fucking kick to get blocked. It's a basic elemental part of the game. That's not, everyone calls it playing scared. That's playing smart. Nothing wrong with playing smart. Mike Holmgren won a Super Bowl playing smart. Got to execute, though. They didn't do that today. Lewis, thanks for the super chat. Appreciate you, man. Josh, thank you, brother. I went into anaphylactic shock yesterday from eating peanuts. I'd rather do that again than watch another game like that. Go Pack, go. Yeah, it wasn't fun. No doubt. Baron, thanks for the super sticker. Appreciate you. Kevin, thanks for the super chat, man. Usually they lose like this in the playoffs. Hopefully they respond in a good way. I've seen some gut-wrenching Packers losses, and this has for sure made that list, even if it is a week 3 game. Oh, 100 billion%. Don't get it twisted. This is a terrible loss. It's awful. It's a game they completely controlled and had the absolute victory in front of them that they then handed to the Browns. And it's team-wide, man. It ain't, just Jordan Love throwing an interception or Matt LaFleur not going for the jugular in that last offensive series. There's mistakes abounding in that game that gave the game to the Browns. Patrick, thanks for the super chat, man. Jordan Morgan looked bad today, but I don't think the team is doing him any favors by making him play a new position every 12 snaps this season. Patrick, I've been saying it since the summer. I very much agree. I think letting him concentrate on one position would benefit the young man. Of course, they always want to talk about versatility and your ability to play multiple spots, and that's what they've done, and that's been their approach. Now, they've won a boatload of games doing that. But yeah, he had a rough outing today. Now, he definitely looked rough against a very good defensive front. We talked about it all week. That front line, that defensive line in particular, is no joke. And you saw that throughout the contest. But yeah, man, baptism by fire on the road, that defense able to just tee off. Yeah, you're going to look bad. And he most certainly did. Carter, thanks again, man. You can't win until you keep from losing. That's just the very wise words right there. Mike Witt, Eeyore in the house. Prior Eeyore after today. That offense was atrocious today. Really, really hard to be an optimist after that. Matt LaFleur has struggled with trap games. I don't get it. So angry right now, Nags. Mike, don't be angry. It's a week 3 loss. Man, it's a long season. There is so much ahead of this team. So much good stuff is going to happen for this team. No question about it. This week is going to be rough, especially if you're online. Opposing fans are going to mercilessly tease you about this game. I can't help with that. But in the pantheon of the NFL and the season the Packers are having or going to have, it's a speed bump. It sucks right now. I have no doubt. I totally get the frustration. But, man, your anger is just wasted. It's just wasted energy. Don't indulge in that. Smooterino, what's up, man? Matt LaFleur is required to have 2 infuriating it's on me losses per season. At least we got one out of the way early. What's funny is I remember back in the day when I was doing season predictions, and I would always give the Packers like a 12-4 record when I actually thought, yeah, they'd probably be 13-3. But each and every year there was some kind of McCarthy crazy loss that, you wouldn't see coming. But Mike would do something or have an approach that make you go, yeah, that's on Mike. So, yeah, I would say LaFleur certainly didn't help his cause today. But again, I'm just going to say I didn't mind the approach at the end when they had control and they could have won and should have won the game. Matt LaFleur didn't block that kick. Now, yeah, I know the pushback will be, well, you brought Bisaccia back. That's the direct line, right? And people are going to get on that, and I totally understand it. But there's something to be said for continuity. Matt wanted it at that position. Soder, what's up, man? Every year, Matt LaFleur is good for a couple of these mystery game plans. Just can't get out of his own way sometimes. Dallas is a good game to get right. We'll see. That's going to be an interesting one as far as their defensive approach. Now, obviously, there's going to be so much kind of juice around that Dallas game because of the Micah Parsons narrative. But yeah, what is going to be fascinating is to see how they are able to attack that Dallas defense, something the Chicago Bears are doing right now. And that's the other thing. Things change quickly in the NFL. The Bears 0-2, blah, blah, blah. Here comes Dallas, and they're up 14-3. The Vikings looked terrible last week on national television. Come back, get a backup quarterback in there, and Carson Wentz, who's been in the building for 28 days. They absolutely smoked the Bengals. League changes quick. It's a week-to-week league. That's why it is so frustrating when you give away a game like the Packers did today, a game they should have won. I'm not saying it's not frustrating. Shit changes quick, though. Captain Tuttle, what's up, man? Thank God it's September. Yeah, a lot of growth left in front of this team, without question. Hey, Patrick. Now they can shut up about going undefeated. Man, I've never seen a more scared fan base than the Green Bay Packers fan base. Rasheed Walker said they could go undefeated. You know what? They could have, but they didn't. They lost today. And now you move on. If they had gone undefeated, you'd all be celebrating. I don't get it. I don't get people being scared of words into a microphone. Nothing that gets said like that matters. Matters is what they do on the field. Just because he said those words earlier this week in the locker room has absolutely nothing to do with what happened on the field today. People get their undies in a twist about it, though. It's so wild to me. Clear eyes, piss hot, can't lose. What a handle. Thanks for the super chat. I get that it's week 3, but have we seen enough to tell Rich Bisaccia to take 2 weeks off and then quit? Not yet. And I always say it. I said it all offseason. I'll continue to say it. Matt values him for what he brings as the assistant head coach just as much, if not more, than as his special teams coordinator. And as we saw, Mo Drayton did 10 times worse and was kept on to only cost them in the playoffs. Matt's got a religion of keeping faith with the guys that he believes in. He clearly believes in Bisaccia. Mike Witt, what's up, man? Stop talking about Super Bowl. This is not a Super Bowl offense, in my opinion. You have to beat bad teams, period. Seemed like number one got a little tired late in the game. Thoughts? You got tired. You got a little beat up, no doubt about it. And no, I'm not going to stop talking about the Super Bowl. This is a Super Bowl championship caliber team. Dog, did you just hear what I said about the Packers losing to the fucking Lions when they won the Super Bowl? Did you just remember any of that? 96? They had bad losses that year, too. Every champion has a bad loss on their resume. It's early in the season. Well, the Eagles were like 4-4 last year and then went on their run. Y'all need to relax, man. My goodness. Bunch of scaredy cats. Thomas, what's up, man? Can't stand people wanting Matt LaFleur fired. Not every team has a defense like the Browns or a player on the other side like Garrett. We will be fine. I don't love people calling for anybody's job after a loss, but I get it. It's your mechanism as a fan to express your frustration, and you see this team that you put so much emotional energy into that then does lose a game that they should have won. Someone's got to be blamed, right? And coaches are the easiest ones to blame. And they should be fired if they don't win every game. I get it. I understand it. Yeah, I'm not into it, but I get it. Marshall Duke, thanks to the super chat, man. Did they pinpoint Bullard's injury? I had a Nick Collins flashback. I didn't see any updates, but I do know they showed him, walking off on the sideline, talking to people, etc. So hopefully a stinger would be my guess, but we'll see. Josh, what's up, man? Thanks for the super chat. Relax. Good to be humbled and left hungry. Hurting O-line played bad. History makes me trust long-term season development here. Love played pretty good outside of the INT. Defense was great. Yeah, I thought Jordan had a decent game. Certainly the interception was a really bad moment. I think overall he did what was, probably available, took what was available to him. There were a couple plays, especially early in the first half, where I thought he probably held the ball a tick long. But, on balance, yeah, I'm with you, man. I thought he did what he could. He made the most of what was available, especially given how his offensive line kept breaking down. You know, the interception is a real tough play, no question about it. But I did see some people saying, "Oh, Jordan was terrible today." Man, I've seen terrible quarterback play. Jordan Love didn't approach that today. Not even close. Vex, what's up, man? Jordan Morgan would be off the team if not for a first round pick. I very much disagree with you, sir. He had a bad day today, no doubt about it, but not even close to correct. Lewis, what's up, man? Thanks for the super chat. Positive, Golden was clearly part of the plan today and seemed to do well. I agree, though it was a bit frustrating and a bit mystifying how clearly early on in the game he was a target. It was targeted, and then he just kind of disappeared. They started getting totally away from him until finally Jordan got him out of the, shadow of their end zone and that deep shot on the right sideline. But man, how he just disappeared as a part of the plan was frustrating. Like, clearly he's winning. Clearly he can kind of do what he needs to do to get open against his defense. Keep feeding him. That was that was a frustration. Terrible. Alex, what's up? Terrible. Glad Rashad can't shut up now. I don't even know what that means. But I'm glad you got it off, and I appreciate the support. Matthew Clark, man, you're up late or up early. Always said you got to lose one to finish 16-1. Go Pack, go. You ain't wrong, brother. You ain't wrong. Michael C., what's up, man? Thanks for the super chat. The Browns have not allowed more than 14 first downs or 250 yards all season. They're a tough team. We blew it, but hopefully we learn from this. Yeah, Michael, everyone sees the 40 burger that the Ravens put up on them last week and assumes they can be walked over, right? Clearly the game script was very, very different. As I kept pointing out during Watch Party, that was last week against the Ravens was a 10-3 game at halftime. You know what I mean? Like, that's a tough defense. They're going to be a tough out for each and every team they face. John, thanks to the super sticker. Appreciate you, man. Justin, thanks, buddy. Can we take one moment to bitch about the refs? 25 total flags, I think. Good Lord. I try to avoid bitching about the refs after a loss because you don't want to be seen like you're blaming the refs. And look, I get there are some times where it feels like they directly contribute to a loss. And I don't think that's what you're doing here. Man, I think you're just saying there was a boatload of flags, and you're not wrong. Now, that said, the Packers gave them a lot of reason to throw some of those flags. There were some phantom calls. There always are. Yeah, but Carl Cheffers and his crew are always going to be on the heavy side when it comes to the laundry. What kills me, what's funny is I was bitching about this on Watch Party, and then I legit got a text from someone on the Packers in the kind of building who was like, why does it take an hour to make a call? Like, I got to have a conference after every fucking flag. Like, just make a call. Like, that drives me insane. Joe, what's up, man? At least I didn't also watch Bucky this weekend. Oh, man, we're not going to talk about Fickle and company. Not in this here chat. No, sir. John, thanks for the super chat, man. Tell me what happened in the end of the third. What happened in the end of the third can't happen. John, I'm having real trouble following you there, buddy. Wish I could help. High powered, what's up, man? This sucks, but on to week 4, baby. Go Pack, go. They see there's the spirit. There's the spirit. Again, I don't begrudge anyone being frustrated or angry about this game. I completely understand it and think it's valid to be pissed. Go with God if that is your necessary path that you have to travel. I'm not mad. I'm frustrated. Very frustrating when you give a game away that you had control of. But it is week 3. There's a lot of ball game left. Soder, what's up? Yeah, to my point here. When it was 10-0, all they had to do was not turn it over and no special teams clusterfucks. Yeah, no. Everything they didn't have to do just to hold on and win the game, they absolutely did. No doubt about it. Lewis, what's up? My girls are playing dress up right now. Anna and Elsa. I'm officially over the loss. On to Dallas. Go, Pack, go. I will admit, having children certainly helps bring things into sharper relief after frustrating moments in games like this. Very much agreed. Matthew, what's up, man? The Bears still suck. Man, you still are pricks. Go, Pack, go. Man, I got nothing. I got no leg to stand on Man U after yesterday. The Bears still suck, no question about it, but they are up 14-3 against the Dallas Cowboys. Portmaster, we just got called for another penalty. Carl Cheffers is in the Uber on his way to the airport, throwing flags out the window. I have no doubt. Jake, what's up, man? The defense played incredible again. We'll be fine. I tend to think that's correct. That is my takeaway. Like, zero doubt, end of the game, frustrating, absolutely awful. Hate to see it. You know, learn from it, move on to the next. That's where I'm at. It's so early in the season. Ed, what's up? You're right. Words didn't lose this game. It was me. I wore the wrong t-shirt. Sorry. See, Ed, I just need you to be more on point with your game day attire. Thank you, sir. Braden, thank you. Appreciate you. Can't expect to win a game with only 10 points. Not only that, I think we played way too conservative. Maybe the plan changed since the O-line was beat up. Braden, to my eyes, the plan didn't change fast enough. I would have gone way more conservative and buttoned it up way before LaFleur did. They couldn't block him up front. They couldn't. They absolutely could not. And for whatever reason, they refused to acknowledge that until well into the second half. That's just me, man. People bitch about conservative. I'm fine being conservative when it's obvious you can't get the results you're looking for trying to play your quote-unquote regular offense. Yeah, that was frustrating. Patrick, thank you, sir. 97 Packers went to the Super Bowl and lost to the 1-15 Colts. See, Patrick, you talk about the 97 Packers, right? Going to a Super Bowl, but losing to the 1-15 Colts. They just call you an old man. It was a different league. You don't know what you're talking about. This doesn't matter, blah, blah, blah. But it does speak to the journey that a season is in the NFL. And the fact that what happens in week 3 has precious little bearing on what happens long-term with this football team throughout the entirety of the season. Certainly you can point back at it and say, well, that's a frustrating loss. Maybe that changes a bit of the positioning when it comes to the playoffs. But even then, the last time this team won a championship, they won 3 road games in the playoffs. And no, that's not the desire. The fact is, though, it's a possibility. Yes, the 97 Packers losing to the 1-15 Colts. I'll never forget it. But then they just call me an old man when I say it. So I'm glad you said it, Patrick. Andrew, what's up? Glad we got that out of the way. Truly, seriously. William, thanks for being a Carry the G Club member. Do you think the amount of speed and talent on the defense side has caught up with the offenses in recent years? Feels like the 90s football was 13-10 games. Feels like 90s football, 13-10 games. A little bit. That's certainly part of the pendulum swing, and I think that's a big component when it comes to what we've seen with teams last year in particular. I haven't seen really play out so much this year so far, but teams really trying to pound the rock and utilize the run game in a way that has not been prevalent in the NFL for, a couple decades now. Because yes, you've got all these insane athletes up front that make it really hard to drop back and pass the ball the way they want to and get guys in space and get their athletes going. Yes, I do think that is a major component for why we've seen, a switch, so to speak, in offensive approach. Storm Ray, what's up? Losing one of these that we probably win 8 out of 9 to 10 times always sucks. Glad we have a game in our second home stadium next week to bounce back. Go Pack. Yeah, man, the Packers contingent next week is going to be fun to watch. It's going to be interesting to see what Dallas does to try and keep Packers fans out of the building, because it has been a home away from home for the green and gold. Albert, what's up, man? I believe if Jordan Love doesn't snap the ball to end the quarter to go into the fourth with a creative play, get the first down, but all good, though. Snap the ball to end the quarter. I mean, it's possible, man. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. What if? There's a ton of them. I mean, to me, I heard Matt LaFleur after the game talking about that third down play call that resulted in an interception. I didn't love the set coming out, spreading it out. I think you're playing it into their hands. That's a defense that wants you to do that. And that was exhibit A of why. I suspect, and I expected them to come out and use a lot more condensed stuff to try and run mesh and pick plays and things of that nature. And I heard Tom Silverstein talk to coach after the game and ask about, were you maybe thinking about maybe getting back to some of the more boot stuff? Because they did have success there and schemed open some easy completions for Jordan. And I'm sure Matt will be kicking himself about that all week long. No doubt about it. Mike Witt. Oh, here we go. Big difference is we have prime Rodgers and Favre in 2010 and 96. Love is nowhere near those two, in my opinion. Positive, I think 52 is going to be double-digit sacks this season. He doesn't need to be. Man, he's Jordan Love. He's his own man. He's good enough to win a championship with. Have you watched Jalen Hurts play football? Jordan Love's just as good, if not better. In fact, I know he's better. Man, just win the games. Tough interception today. Jordan played well overall and has played very well the last 2 games of this season. Stop comparing him to Favre and Rodgers. He's never going to be them. Doesn't need to be them, ever. It's a new era. By the way, this is a game back in the day where those quarterbacks, this defensive performance didn't always have that. This is a team that can win in different ways. I like the comparisons kill me, man. Mimsy, what's up? Some positivity here. Cubs lose, fly the L. The Central belongs to Milwaukee. There you go. Now you're talking, buddy. Now you're talking. Nick Heller with the copium. Seeing Matt LaFleur and company have to game plan around Myles Garrett only makes me more excited for what Parsons brings to our defense. I feel that, man. I feel that. It was no doubt that those were 2 of the best defensive players we're going to watch all season long in one game. Those are a couple of game wreckers. I mean, Parsons drew a couple flags. He could have had like 3 or 4 more. Just made that tackle look silly all game long. Antonio, what's up, man? Moving on. What's the game plan for Dallas? I suspect try to get back to pushing the ball down the field. I don't think they're going to be as worried about the pass rush down there. Now, that said, got to be able to block them up. And some of that is going to be dependent on what the health is up front. If Zach Tom can't go, Aaron Banks can't go, I think that forces them a bit to probably button it up a little bit, as they probably should if their offensive line isn't at full strength. Michael, thanks, buddy. Good news. Brewers just clinched the division. There you go, baby. Got some positive news. Matthew, Bears can win 70-0. They still suck. That's true. Andrew, thank you, buddy. Brewers win the Central. That's great news. Jake, what's up, man? Matt is never going to learn from these mistakes. Again, I don't know what mistakes you're talking about. I thought his approach at the end of the game was fine. You guys, I get it. Like the game plan may be here or there. We don't agree with the approach, whatever. As far as coaching mistakes in this game, I really struggle to see what he should have done rather than, quote, be more aggressive. Oh, you mean like they tried too early in the game and kept getting sacked? I'm begging you guys. Go feel the wind on your face on this one. RCS, thanks, buddy. Let's hope our worst game was here in week 3 against an AFC team. It happens. That sucked. Move on. Go, Pack, go. There you go. Lewis, thanks again. O-line shuffling a concern for next week? Yes, that's what I was just alluding to. I mean, that's the biggest concern as far as coming out of this game as banged up as they were. Whatever happens throughout the week, I hope it is, the 5 they expect to play rather than maybe a hodgepodge and getting everybody some reps in case. Yeah, that's, to me, a major component, probably the number 1 kind of issue heading into the Dallas game. Jerry, what's up, man? Pack lost to the Finns and Skins in 2010. Chill all. The Finns and Skins. And the Finns, and they lost to Atlanta, didn't they? But weren't those back-to-back overtime losses too? Yeah, that was some tough times. But look, the comparisons aren't really valid because it's a totally different team. And it's a totally different environment. The league is monumentally different, right? But all of that said, I understand the frustrations. I don't want people to think I'm sitting here going, oh, everything's great, because it's not. Of course not. Again, a game you absolutely should have won that you gave away. But it is week 3, and there is a long way to go. Matthew, thank you so much. Stay positive. 16-1. Go Pack Go. There you go. That's a great way to end it. All right, buddy. I'm going to have to get going. Cannot thank you enough for hanging out, talking Packers each and every day, Monday through Friday, and after every game, win or loss. That's what we do here at Cheesehead TV. Appreciate each and every one of you. I've been saying it all, chat. I'll continue to say it all week. Take a breath. Frustrating loss. No doubt about it. Got to go 1-0 next week in Dallas. Still a long way to go. Still a very good football team in Green Bay, Wisconsin, that is going to have some redemption on its mind next week. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night. Go Pack Go.